Hello, YouTube, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have 6 articles in this episode for you. All the URLs are in the description of the video for your convenience. Fox News Politics, and it says, Trump travel ban ends hold on implementing executive order. And there is video in this if you want to pull it up to see that. It says a federal judge in Hawaii issued an extension on his order blocking President Trump's travel ban hours after hearing arguments on Wednesday. He contends the travel ban discriminates against Muslims and hurts the state's tourist-dependent economy. And I'm trying to get this video stopped. There we go. It says State Attorney General Douglas Chin argued that the ban's implied message is like a neon sign flashing, Muslim ban, Muslim ban. Did not bother to turn off. Extending the temporary order until the state's lawsuit was resolved would ensure the rights of Muslim citizens across the U.S. are vindicated after the starts of the last 2 months. The Trump administration had asked Judge Derek Watson, a federal judge in Hawaii, to narrow his ruling to cover only part of the president's executive order that suspends new visas for people from 6 Muslim-majority nations. Justice Department told Watson the freeze on the U.S. refugee program had no effect on Hawaii. Watson rejected that argument, preventing the administration from halting the flow of refugees. Watson prevented the federal government from suspending new visas for people from Somalia, Iran, Syria, Sudan, Libya, and Yemen, and freezing the nation's refugee program. His ruling came just hours before the federal government planned to start enforcing Trump's executive order. His previous ruling an example of unprecedented judicial overreach. This is so ridiculous what these judges are doing. I almost hope that they keep up their foolishness, because maybe that's what it'll take to get Washington to understand just how ridiculous these courts have become with the garbage that they're people. Maybe if they're pulling it with the President of the United States, it'll start to make heads spin a little bit. Obviously, pulling that kind of garbage with our patriots and our political prisoners that they're holding in Oregon and in Nevada isn't getting any attention with Washington. But maybe if they're doing this asinine behavior to the higher ups, it'll begin to make the higher ups take notice of what exactly is going on here and get some of these unconstitutional judges the hell off the bench. The next article I have is off of BizPac Review. It says, boom, Tucker teaches lib law professor a new word over sanctuary city debates. Fox News host Tucker Carlson, the sworn enemy of lying, pomposity, smugness, and groupthink, took on left's hypocrisy in defending sanctuary cities. On the one hand, liberals claim to be a champion for the little guy, demanding higher wages and even more benefits. However, their defense of cities offering sanctuary to illegal immigrants results in the exploitation of wage earners. How did you, a liberal law professor from New York City, wind up the spokesman for big employers who exploit low-wage labor? Tuesday night. Do you ever think, like, how did I get in this place? You are defending agricultural and service sector employers who pay low wages. Did you think you were going to wind up in that place when you were a kid? Boom, the law professor tried to weasel out of consistency, but was unable. What I'm saying is what the same thing that the organized labor said when we had the last time when we came closer to comprehensive immigration reform. He managed to sputter out, making little sense. Finally finding his voice, he continued that the Republican lawmakers defeated comprehensive immigration reform, which is correct, but wasn't a response to the Democrats' conflicting positions on issues. Twitter users loved the exchange and found an ulterior motive for the Democratic Party's support of sanctuary cities. And Andy Shaw put out a tweet, says Tucker Carlson real purpose of illegal immigrants is to provide votes for Democrats and keep them in power. And somebody answered him by saying Tucker Carlson Dems still believe they can achieve one-party rule with illegal votes, but they will big fail first. And by hiring illegal immigrants at cheap wages, American workers are cut out of the labor market. And somebody tweeted out, Tucker Carlson, oops, you weren't supposed to put 2 and 2 together. Someone is making money exploiting low-wage labor, and it isn't us. Another one says, Tucker Carlson, they are exploiting citizens as well. I see why am I. Another one says, Tucker Carlson, this guy just didn't get it. Many out-of-work Americans would love the jobs that illegal immigrants take. Keyword, illegal. Tucker Carlson, he gets it. Liberal loon recording. A few believe that support for illegal immigration is merely a logical progression of the Democratic Party's plantation mentality. One says, Tucker Carlson, if you ask a liberal about deporting illegals, the first thing they talk about is someone picking fruit and maid service. Another one says, liberals also believe that blacks were only good for picking cotton and hard labor too. Chalk up one more win for Carlson. Tucker Carlson, your show is like a shooting gallery. You line up the whack jobs and knock them down. Well done, sir, as always. One of the paradoxes of the Democratic Party in recent years is that citizens have to prove they're insured, but people shouldn't have to prove they're citizens. The article is off of teaparty.org. Texas governor to sign legislation that can put sheriffs of sanctuary cities in jail. Yes. It says Texas Governor Greg Abbott called into the Steve Malzberg show to discuss sanctuary cities plaguing certain counties in his great state. He said he would sign legislation that would put sheriffs of sanctuary cities in jail. Here we go, folks. Don't mess with Texas. Steve Malzberg says, I know you brought up the possibility of jailing such sheriffs recently. And Greg Abbott says, we have. It's a two-step process. One, as governor, I could unilaterally use my office to take funds away from Travis County previously granted to them under governor's grants for criminal justice reasons, and we have defunded them to the tune of $1.5 million. In addition to that, we have been pushing a piece of legislation in Texas that is going to pass that I will be signing into law that imposes even sterner penalties on counties. Include things such as further defunding them, and it could impose jail time for the sheriffs to enforce the laws. Oddly enough, these sheriffs could wind up behind the very bars that they're releasing these very criminals from. And there's some tweets in this if you want to pull those up and take a look at those. The next one we have is off of the libertyheadlines.com. It says Hispanic-owned companies bidding for Trump wall leaves threats. And it originally came from Breitbart. It says the owners of several Hispanic-owned companies bidding for contracts to build a wall or fence on the U.S. border with Mexico have been swamped with death threats, a report reveals. Owners of several construction companies in western states such as California and Arizona have reported a campaign of harassment after their names turned up in federal databases. There have been phone calls and email complaints, rocks thrown at buildings, death threats, and one company even said a company tractor was stolen, the Washington Post reported. According to a review of federal records, only 32 Hispanic-owned companies have thus far bid for any of the contracts currently offered by the federal government for Trump's border wall. Michael Evangelista Usage, the owner of a construction company in Arizona, told the paper that Hispanics are calling him a traitor for bidding for the work. He noted that some Hispanics in the U.S. think it's racist to want to secure the U.S. border. Saga also told the paper that he has been deluged with calls from random people calling into the office and just screaming. 5 threats this week alone, he admitted. Continued saying that his employees are ready to be a productive part of the solution and propose a humane option to secure our border. We picked a very hot button project to be involved in, but at the end of the day, it is our hope that once we secure our border, we can finally pass comprehensive immigration reform, Saga added. The next item is off of BizPac Review. And it says, tempers rage when Christian leaders reveal taxpayer fund pro-Islamic propaganda in public schools. Public school children grades being indoctrinated on Islam through lessons financed by taxpayers, unbeknownst to unsuspecting American parents. Martin Moyer, president of the Christian Action Network, sent a letter to the Department of Education threatening to file a lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of an Islamic education program offered through the PBS Learning Media website, which is financed by federal taxpayer dollars. Tucker asked why it's believed the Department of Education is funding pro-Islamic propaganda. First of all, Moyer began, if go to PBS Learning Media website, Islamic education programs, they have the Department of Education seal on it. Maher told Tucker Carlson he was astonished when he viewed the educational lesson plan that gives detailed instructions on Islamic prayers and rituals and had teachers quiz students on it. Especially disgusted because similar lessons are not offered on Christianity, Judaism, or any other religion. I'm frankly shocked at some of the lesson plans that students have to achieve in the classroom, Maher said. For example, teachers are expected to ask their students, what do Muslim prayers sound like? Or movements look like? Why does the federal government find that necessary? Carlson was stunned because these are public schools, not private religious institutions. How can a teacher grade a student on these types of questions? Carlson asked in disbelief. He believes Islam promoting liberals would be outraged if similar lessons on Christianity or other religion starts at school. Well, we know the ACLU would be outraged, Maurer said. They'd be running to the courthouse steps with lawsuits in their hands. They'd probably break a leg trying to get up those steps fast enough. Amazingly, Islamic education lessons have become common across the United States. Last month, 2 New Jersey moms discussed how their middle school age children are being brainwashed in Islam. And then it says here, see a video below of the Islamic lesson their children were forced to watch at the Chatham Middle School, if you want to pull that up and take a look at that. Libby Helsenrath said her child's world, cultures, and geography class only discusses Islam, but doesn't teach about Christian and Jewish religions. I think it crosses the line, teaching one religion and not others, she said. Indoctrination of school children is already normal in many European countries like the Netherlands. And they've got a video here. The Islam Netherlands teach Dutch children how to pray in Islam. Wow. Twitter users were furious that federally funded schools are forcing middle school and high school students to undergo detailed instructions on Islam, but religion. Most parents don't want religion to be part of their children's public school curriculum. If Muslim students were forced to take detailed lessons on Christianity, you can be sure their parents would already have filed lawsuits. And there's some tweets. If you want to pull that up and read those, you're perfectly welcome to do so. There's some videos and things as well. The next one is off of BizPac Review, and it says, undocumented immigrant causes social media firestorm after bragging about filing her taxes. An illegal immigrant from Arizona State University student caused a social media firestorm after posting her tax forms on Facebook. So that she paid taxes, Belencisa also admitted that she and her family are illegal immigrants. I, an undocumented immigrant, just filed my taxes and paid $300 to the state of Arizona, she wrote on Facebook on Sunday. I cannot receive financial aid from the state or federal government for school. I cannot benefit from unemployment, a reduced health care plan, or a retirement fund. I think I'm a pretty good citizen. Oh, and there are millions just like me who pay into a system they will never receive anything from. Want to tell me again how I should be deported, contribute nothing, and only leech off the % wealthiest people in this country, steal from you every day? How about you show me yours, Donald Trump? The dreamer, currently protected by the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, created by former President Barack Obama, said she'd received tons of hate mail after making her post. And in America since she was 6 years old, after her parents overstayed their visas when they came from Argentina. According to her social media, she is a political activist and an avowed supporter of Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Many on social media publicly called for her to be deported, and there is a list of tweets if you want to pull it up to read those. And that's all I have in this episode. More episodes to follow. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up, share it on your social media so everybody gets to hear the news. To subscribe if you haven't done that, and that way you'll stay informed.